Race relations in America, in my opinion, it's heartbreaking right now. I don't really have anything to compare it to, but to me, in my life experience, this is the most volatile that race relations has been.
When we talk about racism and discrimination, it's not always just the thing that you think about in your head. It's these subtle discrimination things that we have that we don't necessarily know that we're doing.
It's hard to kind of confront somebody on that because you don't want them to be like, oh, well, you're playing the race card, because I don't think that's what people's agendas are. I think people's agendas are, we want to have conversations that speak truth to race relations.
You can't ever reconcile what you don't recognize. And so if we don't diagnose the race relations first and foremost as what it really truly is, then it's very difficult to really know how to fix it.
Most Americans are not racist. They're not.
Really? So how many black
really?
friends do you have?
Really?
How many black friends do you have?
If you think most Americans are racist, I'm ashamed of you.
I'm asking you a serious question.
I'm ashamed of you.
First of all, I didn't say
I think that sometimes the flames are fanned by the media and things can seem worse than what they actually are. That happens because I don't think people talk about it enough.
Racial issues are just plain hard, and it's actually through a resource of community in which you begin to feel that you have more personal strength to take on these issues in a real way in your own life.
The IF gatherings typically are women coming together for the sole purposes of being open to one another, to God, to the community, and growing together in Christ in a more authentic way, and really listening to what God's talking to us to either do or be. But this specific group was carved out from the IF gatherings to become a group that talks more intentionally about race relations.
I knew that I had an opinion, but I didn't really feel comfortable expressing my opinion to anyone outside of my circle because I didn't want to be labeled, I didn't want to be typecast. So when I was invited to participate, I went in eager and excited to have a place that was set apart to be safe, to get some of these things that I was holding in out. The discussion is facilitated through like a course pack. So there's questions that facilitate the discussion.
Through this curriculum, we talk about awareness, we talk about confession, we talk about shame and guilt, we talk about reconciliation. And so it makes the conversation a little bit easier.
A lot of the guided questions pointed in the direction of a personal connection as well as action steps, and also a chance to be self-reflective and then bring that to the group as well, which I totally appreciated.
We have conversations centered around justice and more specifically race during our times and how we in our own communities can make a difference.
And it's important because it actually gets people within that community right at the table, discussing with each other, eating, breaking bread together, and sharing their lives.
The Bridge to Racial Unity group meets in someone's house once a month or every 3 weeks. When you're in someone's home, it gives you that intimacy. It gives you that safe environment to really open up and share what's going on. It removes those barriers of communication.
You're able to kind of ensure diversity of opinion with a diverse group of women, and with a diversity of opinion, you are able to challenge some of the conclusions that you've drawn and opinions that you have.
We have had moments where we speak truth, and sometimes truth hurts. There have been moments where we've had to apologize to each other, and I think that's just part of bridging the gap. I think that's part of taking one step forward instead of a step back.
Whenever you're sitting at a table and you're listening to people's real lives, it changes you.
That is where the healing balm comes. And just like, we look at Jesus and he came, even though he was still God, he came as a man. He empathized with our pain and our sin, and he was able to rectify it through walking with us through that journey.
One of Jesus's last prayers in John 17 was that we would be united as one. By reaching out to somebody that's different from us, I think that we are living out his last prayer. We are becoming one. We are becoming united. how could this simple gesture of inviting people into your home, into a friendship, change how we view race in America? Tonight, I am so excited to introduce you to LaTasha Morrison, an amazing person answering the call from God. Tasha is using her compelling voice to encourage racial reconciliation among all ethnicities and promote racial unity in America. She is the founder of Be the Bridge to Racial Unity. Please welcome LaTasha Morrison.
Thank you, guys. How many of you want to see reconciliation happen in your lifetime? How many of you guys would raise your hand? Mostly everyone in here. The problem is we want to see reconciliation, but we don't want to put in the work. These conversations are difficult. They are hard. They are awkward. And I feel like one of the common things that we have in this room is our faith and who we put our faith in and who we put our hope in and who we put our trust in. And that is the thing. If the gospel, if we as Christians can't be a credible witness to what it means to live out the gospel, then we have a problem. You have about a group of 7 girls who are doing their part. And now their commitment, their passion, their desire has turned into a room of over 100. That's the Lord doing that. He's really trying to speak to us. So I would say, let's open our ears to listen and let's commit to living out the true gospel of Jesus Christ.
When we look at racism, we think it's this huge, huge issue. And really, it's very simple. I feel like it all goes back to love. It all goes back to love your neighbor as yourself. And when we take the time to get to know somebody, truly get to know somebody and build this friendship, love happens.